The first cobbled monument is now just around the corner. The Ronde van Vlaanderen, or the Tour of Flanders, is often referred to as the Belgian World Championships. That is how it's regarded in that country. It's attracted all of the current classic specialists that you'd expect, so here are our 10 to watch. And we're going to start with the two riders who've really dominated these races over the last decade, Fabian Cancellara and Tom Boonen. Cancellara himself has had a stellar start to the season. He's taken 4 wins in total, a solo victory in Mallorca in January, 2 time trial victories ahead of the likes of Tony Martin at Tirreno and the Vuelta al Algarve, and he added a 3rd career victory at Strade Bianche in early March. So there's no doubt that Spartacus has the form that it takes to add a 4th career victory here at the Tour of Flanders. And the good thing is for him, he's also got a very strong team to back him up. Amongst them are the young Belgian talents Edward Tjurns and Jasper Stuyven, the latter of whom won Kuurne Brussels Kuurne in February. And let's not forget Stijn de Volder as well, a man who he himself has won this race on 2 occasions. Tom Boonen, on the other hand, hasn't had quite such a great start to the year. In fact, his best result so far was a 4th place in the stage of the Vuelta a Andalucía all the way back in February. However, that is completely understandable. He's still trying to regain full fitness after a crash in Abu Dhabi late last year left him with quite a serious head injury. So there's no doubt that if we're going to see one last duel between these 2 classics greats, Boonen is going to have to step it up a notch or 2. However, he has won more cobbled classics than we can shake a stick at, so we're not going to count him out. Whilst Boonen has a plethora of cobbled classic victories to his name, his compatriot Greg van Avermaet actually took his first victory in a cobbled race in the form of Het Nieuwsblad just a couple of months ago. Now that was seen by many as a breakthrough ride for someone that's often seen as the nearly man of cycling. That day he got the better of Pateberg. He's done so twice since as well, in the stage and the overall classification at Tirreno Adriatico. And it does seem like for Van Avermaet, it could be now or never if he wants to prove himself as a true Flandrian. Last year's winner, Alexander Kristoff, started 2016 in exactly the same way as he started in 2015, basically taking a load of wins out in the Middle East in February. However, in March this year, he went slightly off the boil. He was below par at both Paris-Nice and a little bit at Milan-San Remo as well. Now this year at the Tour of Flanders, he might well find himself slightly isolated sooner than he'd actually like, because he's missing his right-hand man, Luca Paolini. And if he wants to compete with the best, he's first going to have to get over the illness, which saw him not start at Gent-Wevelgem. If Tom Boonen isn't quite up to the job on Sunday, then ETIXX may well look to Dutchman NIKI TERPSTRA to step up to the plate. Now, a couple of years ago, he won Paris-Roubaix, and last year he was runner-up to Kristoff at the Tour of Flanders. So there's no doubt he has proved his credentials in races of this kind. This year he hasn't got any huge results, although he did take a win under the grim Belgian weather at Le Semin. But it does feel like ETIXX-QUICKSTEP's strength this year is going to lie in their multiple options. So that is where TERPSTRA could profit on the day. A few years ago, it looked as though Sepp VANMARCKE may well take over from Tom Boonen once he'd retired as the classic king of Belgium. However, last year was a huge disappointment for the 27-year-old. A combination of bad luck and bad legs meant that he got little in the way of results. However, if he can rediscover the form which 2 years ago saw him finish in the top 5 of almost every cobbled race in this period, then he may well be able to break his duck and take his first ever monument victory. If there's one person who's nailed on for a top 5, it's got to be current world champion Peter Sagan. The man is so consistent, it's quite frankly incredible. But just like VANMARCKE, he has yet to win one of the 5 monuments. Now, his win in Richmond at the Worlds last year and his win on Sunday at Gent-Wevelgem has shown that he's got what it takes to win races that are over 240 kilometres in length. At both those races, he got his tactics absolutely perfect. And if he can do the same thing at Flanders on Sunday, there's no reason at all why he can't take the win. Yet another option for the ETIXX-QUICKSTEP squad could be Zdeněk Štýbar. Now, he came close to defending his victory at Strade Bianche earlier this year, only to get pipped to the post by Fabian Cancellara. However, he made up for that by winning a stage in quite fine fashion a few days later at Tirreno Adriatico. Now, as former world cyclocross champion, there's no doubting that he's got what it takes on the short, punchy climbs and the technical nature of the Tour of Flanders. Again, he's another one on our list who's yet to win a monument, but we feel it's only a matter of time before he sets that record straight. If Sepp VANMARCKE doesn't step up to the mantle as the darling of Belgian cycling, then it could be that Thijs Benoot will. Now, he's very young, but last year as a first-year professional, he finished 5th in this race, which quite frankly is incredible. He's already proven this year that that was no fluke. He was one of the main protagonists at the Het Nieuwsblad race in February, and we think that he'll be a clear leader of the Lotto Soudal squad on Sunday. Well, we couldn't finish this video without mentioning at least one rider from Team Sky, but since we've only got one slot left, we're going to have to award that place to MICHAL KWIATKOWSKI. They've also got the likes of Geraint Thomas, Ian Stannard and Luke Rowe, so there's no doubt they've got plenty of cards to play on the day, but it is the Pole who has the best pedigree in one-day races. Now, he's also got the local knowledge thanks to his time at ETIXX-QUICKSTEP and the form to go with it as well. He beat Peter Sagan into second place at the E3 Harelbeke just last Friday, a race known as the Mini Tour of Flanders. So there you have it, those are our 10 riders to watch. No doubt we'll get it completely wrong. But in the meantime, before we find out that we are wrong, you might want to check out a couple of other videos. So just up there, you can find our top 10 facts about the cobbled classics, and just down there, you can find myself and Matt discussing who's best, Tom Boonen or Fabian Cancellara. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. All you've got to do for that, and it's free, is to click on the symbol, the globe, somewhere on the screen.